Folks, if you're listening at home, you know that your good friend Brad lives in Philadelphia, where we got hit by one of the worst snowstorms in recent history. In fact, I've been living here for more than 25 years, and there's only one time I've seen it snow this bad, and that was back in the 90s. This has been a terrible snow. Well over a foot has the city absolutely shut right down for more than a week. And I have been battling frozen pipes for the last week and a half, sleeping in 2-hour shifts so I can wake up in the middle of the night and make sure, run some water through, make sure that the space heaters are going. I want you to know that I phoned my good friend Dave Kellett, and for a moment we were on FaceTime. He comes up on the screen and he had a scarf on. And I'm like, oh my God, is it snowing where you're at too? He says, oh, Brad, it's 64 degrees. 64 degrees. We've had sub-zero temperatures in Philadelphia. You've got a scarf on and it's 64 degrees. 64 degrees. I'm outside in shorts and a t-shirt.
The funnier exchange that we had recently, gang, is Brad texts me and he goes, God damn it, it's 4 degrees right now. And I go, oh, Brad, we're all suffering. It's 79 degrees here in Los Angeles. It's too hot to go in the jacuzzi, Brad. I don't want to be
too
warm.
hot for the jacuzzi. If there was ever a time I was angry at you, is when you typed the words "too hot for my jacuzzi."
No emoji was strong enough for Brad Geiger in that moment. I had to be cussed out in person, and I got the FaceTime call where he cussed me out in person. Gang, it's suffering all over equally as we go through this global warming event where everybody's weather gets wonky. God. California gets to 79 in January. Philadelphia gets to 4. We're all suffering. We're all suffering. It's all equal. And on that note, I'm going to say hello, everybody, and welcome to Comic Lab, the show of everybody equally suffering and making comics.
I've never ever seen rats huddled together for warmth before. It was just a weird thing to see. And making a living from comics, I'm Brad Geiger, the author of the Webcomics Handbook and the creator of Evil Inc.
And I'm his pal Dave Kellett, cartoonist of Drive and Sheldon and co-director of the documentary Stripped.
And this week's frigid hour of comics advice is made possible by your support at patreon.com/comiclab. So Dave, take that scarf off and let's talk comics.
Let's talk comics, my friend. So I have a genuine question for you, and Brad can attest to this, that I ask a lot of naive West Coast questions of him about how to handle winter, because I just don't know. I've never lived it. So I'm like, how do you keep pipes warm if they're going to freeze? And he's, my friend Brad Geiger will take me through, well, you have to do this and you have to do that. And I was like, oh, wow, fascinating. So let me ask you this, though. If you have a really strong winter like this, and it's been cold for a while now, and I would imagine, I'm just being naive, but doesn't that kill a fair amount of wildlife? Like, do you have less mosquitoes this spring because you had a really strong winter? I'm being quite sincere.
I've always said that. I don't know the actual, zoological response to that, but I do know just through my own personal experience, a lot of that stuff gets killed off because that it starts to affect the ground temperature. Right. So if you've got anything that has
larvae
eggs
or anything.
underground, exactly. So that's what I've always, and as a matter of fact, like we've had some mild winters, and then it's like that summer, it's like we didn't have enough of a winter to kill these bugs, and so there's always a silver lining. There's always a little balance in nature, and that's one of the things is that I think this kills off some of the bugs.
Because I know I don't know much about Philly, but I know there's only 3 main bits of wildlife. There's mosquitoes, there's rats, and there's pigeons, right? So I'm imagining.
on behalf of the cockroaches, I'd like to beg your pardon.
But I would imagine there's got to be less. There's got to be a stress on that population. There's got to be less rats come spring and less pigeons come spring.
Yes. First of all, yes, but you're missing out. Philadelphia actually has some amazing wildlife. I know we have possums in the neighborhood. Do you have
possums? Okay, yeah.
I know we've got raccoons, and my wife always tells the story of driving up our street, and there was a squirrel in the middle of the street. And all of a sudden, this hawk swoops down, picks that squirrel up, scoops him right up, and somehow the squirrel must have wrestled loose, falls down, falls right on her windshield. rolls down the front of the car into the middle of the street. She stopped. And this squirrel, she said, I never saw a squirrel just absolutely quiver. Like it picked itself up, was shaking like crazy, and then scampered off up a tree where he could be safe.
Oh, but imagine, how do you, if you're a squirrel, how do you not actively shit yourself in that situation? Of course.
Yeah, that's when you finally see a squirrel doing a perfect Don Knotts impersonation, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know, Andy. I don't know what happened here. But we've got hawks, peregrine falcons, because they live
the
up
fastest
on
bird in the world, Brad, the peregrine falcon.
Yes.
All right, keep going.
They roost up in the skyscrapers. But as a matter of fact, just this past yesterday, I'm driving my wife to work because it's too cold for her to take the bus. And we're driving down the street and I see like footprints on our windshield. And I said, oh my gosh, a cat must have been walking up this windshield, left footprints. And she says, I'm not sure those are cat footprints. And she's Googling, footprints. And she says, I think that might be possum. So yeah, there's a lot more wildlife in Philly than we give it credit for.
And of course, for anybody that's recording a podcast with their friend Brad Geiger, they can see based on Brad's chin, there's wildlife everywhere. Look at that beard. What fantastic winter growth. Look at my friend Gentle Ben over here is prepared for winter. I love it.
I found a new barber here in Philadelphia, and actually for the first time, like had a barber style my beard. And
really?
I'm just thrilled. Yeah, because I told him I keep getting this walrus thing on the sides. You got to take care of that. So he like tapered it down and gave me a jawline. Look at that jawline. You can't say no to a jawline like that.
You could cut a piece of paper with that jawline. That's amazing.
That's right.
Let me ask you this: did you get the straight blade shave at the barber? I've never gotten one of those. I don't trust. I always think I'm the barber of Seville whenever I see those things.
He used a clippers, but I have gotten a blade before. Like my guy back in Ohio cut hair with a blade, like top hair, beard hair, everything.
Cut hair with a blade?
With a blade. It was great. It was real sharp.
My God, what, these former Ronin? Like what, how do you cut hair with a blade?
He was really good at it. He was the guy that was running numbers in the back. I don't know that for a fact, but every now and again he'd take this call and he'd say, yeah, we can do that. All right. Yeah. 5. Yeah, you got 5. Hang up, go to the back, write something. I'm assuming he's writing something down in a book. Come back out and grab the blade and start with the left-hand side of my hair.
God, I love Michigan. I love it. All right, Brad. Well, I'm going to jump us into our first question for the week, Brad. This comes in over at patreon.com/comiclab. And this comes in from Jay. Jay writes, hi, Brad and Dave. I'm going through a period of heartbreak due to a breakup. And as a result, I've lost interest in being creative. I force myself to draw every so often just to keep my mind busy, but I don't enjoy the process like I did before. I'm afraid that I will feel this way forever. Some advice on how to find a spark in the midst of heartbreak is very much appreciated. So, Brad, you are our resident expert in romance and affairs of the heart. So I turn this question to you, my friend. How do we help out Jay in this moment that's very universal and it's very human moment to have heartbreak and to have the fallout from it? So, but Brad, what's your advice for Jay on this one?
Well, I think it's appropriate we're taking this question as we're coming up on Valentine's Day, where it's and let me tell you from personal experience, if you don't happen to be attached on Valentine's Day, it really stinks, right? Other than, there's a payoff here. If you're not attached or in a relationship, February 14th is terrible. It's awful. And it's just, you just got to get through it. February 15th, when the candy goes on sale, that's when you get your payback for being single. You go down there and you pick up all that discount candy and everything's okay again. But no, Jay, this really stinks, what you're going through. And of course, it's natural to feel this way. It's normal to feel this way. Having a creative downturn as you're feeling brokenhearted is perfectly natural. It's not going to last forever. You are going to be creative again. But in this time, I can tell you from personal experience, from somebody who spent large portions of his time being unattached and not in a relationship. The best thing for you to do is to rediscover and take joy out of being alone. And I know that sounds a counter to what the whole society tells you, that your whole worth is being wrapped up in being with another person and all of that stuff. But it took me a long time. I was telling Dave before the show, it took me a long time for me to be able to walk into a restaurant, look that hostess in the eye and say, hey, table for one, right? Now, with a face like this, I walk into a restaurant, the hostess just looks at me and says, table for one.
just immediately, and puts you facing a wall at the back. You know?
Yeah, just put him back there by the kitchen. He'll be fine.
We're a business that's trying to advertise. We've got windows. Yeah. You're going back there.
But no, this is the time, honest to goodness, where you should kind of revel in and discover that you have fun being in your own skin.
Yeah.
That's really important. Going and doing things by yourself and learning to really enjoy that and being comfortable in your own skin. And the weird thing that happens, the irony, is that while you're out there in the world being comfortable in your own skin, that's the kind of thing that other people find insanely attractive. People really gravitate towards people who are walking through the world confident in who they are. So this is an opportunity for you. You're going to have some time on your hands, right? Yeah, all this time that you're having not dating. Spend it getting to, it's so hard. It sounds so weird to say, spend time getting to know yourself, spend time loving yourself. But that's really what I mean. Spend some time with yourself, being comfortable in your own skin. It's better for you. And it's going to help you get through this time. And by the way, it's going to lead to some pretty creative moments.
First of all, your Uncle Brad has good advice there. That's really solid. But I will say that it's hard advice because you're coming out of a moment in your life where you're like, no, I actively don't want to be alone. I wanted to be with this person. And I started to see a future with them, or at least an extended period with them of walking down the same path. And so I just want to take a moment to acknowledge that this moment is sad, and it's okay to be sad because, in fact, some of the greatest sadnesses that we'll feel in our life as humans are brought on by other humans who were trying to, in their own way, to do right by us and be good to us. It's frankly, it's easier to disparage or emotionally move away from the people that were actively jerks to us, if you know what I mean by that, Brad, because then we can ball up that in our cynicism file or ball it up into our bitterness pile. But it's the people that hurt us, that were in some ways being kind to us or in some ways loving us. That pain is more acute, because let's look at this in the kindest possible way. They weren't saying that they don't like you. They were just saying that the relationship didn't work, And so
they were saying, they weren't saying I don't like you. They were saying I don't like us.
Right. And so, and I have had this both on the receiving end and the giving end of relationships where you do love them. Or maybe it's better to say you love and appreciate them as a person. You like them rather than love them, but you still value them. You do not want to hurt them. You're just saying that this path, us together, is not what's working. And, but that hurts because like all the things that art relies on, which is opening yourself up, putting yourself out there, offering something up to the world and hoping that people respond to it well and say, I like this and I would like more of this, which is what art is on some levels. A relationship is the same thing. It's opening up your heart. It's giving out to the world. It's saying, I hope you reciprocate this. I hope you like what I have to give, and I hope you want more of this. So much like a relationship, art also relies on those exact same emotional triggers, or not the exact same, but so parallel that like we can draw a line from like, of course you can't create right now, because that feeling of just sadness and of, in some level, rejectedness, it is very parallel to your creative life and your creative path.
You said the magic word there, because as you're talking, I'm thinking about how this relates to comics, and rejection is the word. You feel rejected in that moment, right? We just did a show, either previous episode or the one before that, where somebody wrote in and said, "Hey, I can't bring myself to enter awards because I don't think I'm good enough," right? And I think my imposter syndrome, and that is all about being rejected. And my advice there was A, do it anyway, and B, take that moment as an opportunity to look at your entire year's worth of work, and to take it to a second and say, okay, what do I like about this as a package of work, and where does it need to be improved? Not as a way to do self-flagellation and say, oh, I'm horrible, I'm terrible, but as a way of taking the first step towards making your awards submission for the next year even better. And that's kind of what this moment is as well. Taking a moment to take stock of this relationship in all of its ups and all of its downs, appreciate it for the experience that it was, take the useful stuff that you can from it, and again, the stuff that went great and the stuff, next time I'm in a relationship, I'm not going to do that. Maybe that wasn't maybe I'm going to learn from that experience as well. Take the good and the bad and then use it so that the next time this comes around, you benefit from that experience in a very meaningful way. It's not about being rejected. It's about having the experience, learning from it, and going to the next thing. And if you think about it, that's comics. That's everything that Dave and I recommend when we talk about comics. This comic that you're working on doesn't have to be perfect, but you're going to learn from it. You're going to learn from the ups and the downs, and you're going to take that that experience to your next project, even if your next project isn't a comic, right? Mm-hmm. That's kind of what this moment for our question asker is like too. Is a moment of taking a mental inventory of that relationship. Not in a way of punishing yourself, but in a way of saying, hey, what can I learn from this when I go on to the next?
I'm really glad that you tied it into awards, and I'm really glad that you made it personal there in the way you described it for Brad Geiger, because I think it's helpful for people to hear that both in his award submissions and in his relationships, Brad Geiger has had his package rejected. And so I think that's... Do you know how long I had to sit and wait for that joke?
I saw there was a twinkle in your eye. I knew something was up. That was beautiful. I'm not even going to try to build on that. I'm just going to let that stand where it is. That was beautiful.
But it's hard because in this moment, Brad is right that you do have to return to. And it's the thing that both Brad and I both have not really said out loud, but it's true, is that really the only thing that heals this is time. And I know that's not helpful to hear either, but give it a couple of weeks, give it a couple of months, give it a half a year. And the beauty of the human mind and the human heart is that a lot of pains fade. They don't disappear, but they fade, and so you'll find that both your creativity and your capacity to be like, you know what, I would like to put myself back out there again for relationships or whatever. It comes back, but it's not immediate, and it's because you're imagining a whole future. You're investing in it's not me, it's us, and could we go walk down this path together? And that's a moment that takes it takes a minute to jump back from that. You can't just flip a switch and you're like, back to me again, and I value me, and look at me, a table for one, and I'm ready to go. It's not immediate, and so time is also a really key part of this, don't you think, Brad?
Well, yeah, it's the death. It's a kind of death.
It's
a death of a relationship.
Yes, yeah.
And you've got to take time to go through the stages of grief.
Yes,
and grieve that and come to a place. And Dave's right. You can't rush it. You can't. There's no shortcut to that. You've got to feel these feelings because, again, I'm going to bring it back to creativity and comics. This time in your life that you're experiencing is going to inform the next time you write about a relationship, or the next time you write about two people who love each other, or two people who are coming to a crossroads in the relationship. It's important as an artist, as a creative person, it's important that you have this moment and you take the time to feel these feelings.
Boy, that's true.
In this, that's like saying that, when you're passing a kidney stone, it's important for you to feel that moment. Nobody wants to feel that moment. But it's important because you got to get that kidney stone to pass. It's the same thing. You've got to get to the other side of this grief. And when you do, it's going to inform your art, your creativity, and you're going to be a more nuanced and a more effective creative person as a result of feeling this terrible thing that you're feeling right now.
Yeah, that's also, again, really helpful and true advice. But I'm just saying to you, Jane, right now, I'm saying out loud that I know that won't sound helpful right now. You're like, oh, great, I'm so happy that I get to feel this pain because it'll make me a better writer. But Brad is right, though, that these moments, these hard moments in life, whether it's the death of a loved one, whether it's the breakup of somebody, whether it's the loss of a job or the rejection for this or that thing in life, those moments of pain make you a better writer because you can, in some levels, transpose that pain towards the characters that you're writing, towards the moments that they're going through. And I know that's not helpful in this moment, but in the longer arc of your life, those moments that you can touch upon are incredibly helpful to your creative process. Yeah. Brad's right.
And so, and it's also just important to your own mental health and your own emotional well-being. You need to feel this, and you need to process it, and it's all a part of becoming the person that you're going to become. It's not all, you've got to have you're going to have happy moments and you're going to have crappy moments, and this is one that you just have to get to the other side of. There's no two ways about it, but it's important that you do it too. If you've got, take a look at your typical, like a trust fund baby, right? A trust fund kid who's never had to go without, never had any down points in their life, really. Everything's been handed right to them, right? When you meet that person, that's a very different person than if you met somebody who had to face a certain amount of adversity and had to face good times and bad times. That's two different people standing in front of you. And and there's just no shortcut. You've got to make it through this point in time, and it's part of becoming the person you're meant to become.
It's funny because if you put this outside of yourself, Brad, and you think about your kids, do you remember when they were, I don't know, ages 1.5 to 3, when they were getting sick all the time, and all you want to do as a parent is save them from it? And also, by the way, they're also getting their a variety of shots that they have to get and both of which are to build up their immunity to ultimately make them stronger, healthier, happier people in life, right?
Yeah.
But as a parent, in the moment, all you want to do is save them from that 102-degree fever, or save them from having to get that shot in the doctor's office, or save them for this or that. But part of what Brad is saying is that these are the moments that make you ultimately a happier, healthier, fuller human in the grand arc of your life. And they suck in the moment. They absolutely suck in the moment. And both Brad and I wish we could save you from this moment, but ultimately it will set you on the path that you're meant to be on, and it will make you ultimately a happier, healthier, stronger, fuller human.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're thinking about you. Stay creative. Keep your chin up. Listen, there's no aphorisms that we can offer other than to say, this sucks. We're sorry you're going through it. And we're certainly hoping that to hear back from you very soon, to hear that you're in a better place. And trust me, that day will come.
Absolutely. Hey, gang, if you're listening while you work, take a minute to stand and stretch.
And while you're doing that, we'll tell you why you should join us on Patreon.
Yeah, because when you do, you'll get hours and hours of podcasts that we've recorded just for backers.
And exclusive Patreon posts that go even deeper on Comic Lab topics.
And you'll get access to our exclusive Discord server, a thriving community of professional cartoonists.
So you can support the show you love and Get tons of actionable resources for your own cartooning.
And ho Nelly, if you want even more comics goodness in your life, check out the new drawing show that we're doing with our pal Kevin McShane over at wrongwayshow.com. That's wrongwayshow.com.
In each episode, we'll show you how to draw your favorite cartoon characters the wrong way.
Now, everybody, let's talk comics. Well, Brad, before we jump into our next topic on the show, I've got two updates for the show that I wanted to bring in. Number one, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone that's jumping in over at Double Dog Book for my new Kickstarter campaign of Double Dog Dare, which is kickstarting until February 27th. And God bless America, do I love this book. It is entirely dog comic strips. So if you are a dog lover, if you want a little escapist, pure, goofy, stupid joy in your life, do head over to Double Dog Book. I'm so proud of this book. I love this book so much. It's going to be so awesome. And thank you for everyone that's helping to make it happen over at Double Dog Book. That's update number one. Update number two, Brad, I wanted to bring in for the benefit of everyone in the show, a little fact that in the past 5 to 7 years, I have been trying to use and using Amazon Advantage, which is a program where you can list your books for sale on Amazon, or merchant more broadly speaking, but you can list your books for sale on Amazon. Amazon lists the products on Amazon proper, and then you send books to Amazon as they get ordered, and Amazon does the fulfillment, bada bing, bada boom. And partially why I have been using it for all these years is, as you might remember, and longtime listeners to the show might remember, I took international shipping off of my my store over at sheldonstore.com because the international shipping requirements and the import tariffs and all the duties and this and that and the overall price of the shipping that I could get to, all of it felt unmanageable and undoable and unaskable for my readers to have to deal with all this. So I took off international shipping. But my thought was, Brad, and we've talked about this on the show, that Amazon Advantage would be the place that I could point my Australian or my UK or my German or my Japanese readers and say, here's where you can buy the book. Amazon will handle the international shipping. And by the way, it might be way cheaper than anything I could do. So order from Amazon. Well, cut to last week where I finally decided, Brad, to take myself off Advantage because it's just not working. Amazon's system on the back end is labyrinthian and horrible. Amazon is famous for, frankly, its flawless delivery systems on the front end. For I order a pack of socks, I get a pack of socks the next day, bada bing, bada boom. It was one click, right? But on the back end, for those of you that have never dealt with Amazon's back end, it is a 400-step process of listing a thing, making sure it's done correctly, having all these weird labels on the package, inside the package. The book has to be shipped just so, and to the specific address. And by the way, it has to be at a very specific time arrival. And by the way, even if you've pre-shipped them books, they'll oddly send them back to you for no reason that you can discern. And then they will reorder them again. And you're like, why did you send them back in the first place? And you end up spending $9.50 to make $10, and you're like, what am I doing here? And so I just wanted to say to everyone, because I try to share both successes and failures and things that are impossible, and I ultimately found Amazon Advantage to be impossible, and so I took my books off Amazon Advantage, Brad.
So my first question is, what happens to your international shipping at that point?
I mean, that's the best and most immediate question. And the answer is I kind of can't do anything about it. Is that I think I have come to a point in my career for right now and probably for the rest of my adult life where international shipping from the U.S. for most products, unless tariff regimes around the world get easier, just stops. I don't know that I can ship internationally anymore, Brad.
Fascinating.
I mean, do you currently ship internationally?
No, but I mean, that's what I use Amazon Advantage for, right? Is to say, those people, I point them towards the book on Amazon. And by the way, for those of you shouting at home saying print on demand, For me, that's a non-starter because of the quality, and not only is the profit, so much less. I might as well at that point, like your $9.50 to make $10. I might as well stay with Amazon Advantage if I'm going to take profits that slim. But also the quality is not there.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
It's not. So I'll just address that because I can hear the people at home screaming. But no, I don't have any better ideas than you do. Other than there had to have been something that happened. What was it? It sounds to me there was a straw that broke the camel's back. What happened that made you make this decision in the past 4 weeks?
It wasn't so much a single straw as it was death by 1,000 cuts. Is that for reasons that I never fathomed, Amazon just kept sending books back to me that they themselves had ordered. So I would ship them a book, cost me $5 to ship them the book. They send it back to me. Then they reorder it a week later, and I have to ship it back to them for $5. And I was like, what are we doing here? What is this song and dance? I do not understand what your factory or why your warehouse is shuffling through product. Clearly, it would trigger some algorithm of, it's been sitting on the shelf too long. Let's send it back to them. Well, why? Why are we doing this? Why did you order it in the first place? It's supposed to be on-time shipping anyway. I never understood it. And then there were 1,000 other rules that Amazon, the long story short, Bad, is for people that don't know, Amazon is a horrible company.
Right. Really, well, yeah. Surprise.
Consumer facing, they're amazing. And that's why they continue to grow, because as a consumer, you do really well. But every supplier, every employee, every middle manager that I've ever talked to that deals with Amazon, they're like, no, they are a train wreck. They are horrible. And they have no desire to make you an equal partner or a success in this venture. They just want Amazon to succeed, and they will nickel and dime you to death, and even worse. And so it just didn't work out. It was death by 1,000 cuts. And eventually I realized that Beth and I are spending so much time doing this rigmarole so that somebody in Germany can order one book.
Right.
But in the meantime, I had to cycle through 5 reshippings of that same book to get the one person in Germany to be able to get ordered. You know what I mean? I was like, what am I doing here? So it was a non-starter. It was a non-starter. So I'll give you a brass tacks of real numbers. So let's say a hardcover drive book sells for, I don't know, $50. Right. And so immediately I think I made half of that. I made $24 off of that sale from Amazon, I believe. Maybe it was, I made 40%. I don't remember what the cut was. I should have had the numbers ready. But let's just say it was $24 off the sale of a $50 book. But I had to ship that book to Amazon at my own expense. So that was, let's say it's a 2.5 pound book.
Heavy book.
It was $5.50, right? So now I'm down to $18.50. But remember that I also had to reship 3 books that never sold to them to get that one sold, because they keep cycling this through so that's another $15 that I've spent. So now what did I make? I made $4 off the sale of a $50 book, and I had to ship 4 books over time at my own time and expense to do it. So it was like, what am I doing? What am I doing here?
What are we doing here?
Yeah, what's even happening? So the one thing that I am still able to do is when I kickstart a book, like I'm doing over at doubledogbook.com right now, by the way. Look at how I worked that URL in.
Yes.
Because that book most likely will be shipping in China, I can send 4 boxes or 5 boxes of that book to a drop shipper in China. They can ship direct from China to the UK, to my customer in Australia, to my customer in New Zealand, to my customer in Japan. And first of all, I don't have to ship it to the U.S. by pallet. And the Chinese government has all sorts of negotiated and frankly subsidized postal rates around the world. So it ships cheap from China. And for reasons that I don't understand, the drop shippers really understand international and global tariffs, because they do it all day long. Right. So they know all the rules, all the forms, all the stuff that I am just not going to spend my time dealing with. For example, Brad, importing into the UK, tell people what that entails right now and why we don't do it.
Oh my God. But it's just beyond the expense. Now you've got to fill out that customs form. And these days you've got to know what your HS tariff code is. And then it says, oh yeah, well, to figure out your HS tariff code, you've got to click this link. And then it's not like there's a link, there's a code for just books. They've got subcategories of books with pictures of birds in them, soft cover pictures of birds with them with coil binding.
Yeah.
And so you've got you've
all
got
these
to
subcategories.
wade through all of that, and then unless you just want to roll the dice, you've got to collect the VAT tax and submit the VAT tax to Great Britain. And being a good faith small business person, I'm like, hey, if that means collecting VAT and submitting VAT, no problem. Went to Great Britain's website, and if you thought Amazon was Byzantinium, labyrinthian, Byzantine is the word I was looking for.
Yeah, no, I was with you.
If you thought Amazon was bad, Great Britain was even worse. And I spent a long time because I'm like, hey, I got to work this out. I got people in Britain. Nope, forget it. Nothing. I gave up. Rage quit that harder than I ever rage quit Reddit and just never came back. That's what you got to do. I don't even, and I probably missed leaving stuff out.
Oh yeah, no, no one loves the UK more than I do, but
yes,
the British Import and Customs Office hired a 73-year-old person who was on an Apple IIe computer and coded their import website. I mean, you and I have talked about this. I don't know if we've ever talked about it on the show. It was bonkers terrible in terms of like trying to figure out how to lovingly pay the UK the money that you thought and they thought they were rightfully owed.
Right.
We wanted to do it, but my God, the UK made it impossible. It's like they tripped on their own wiener trying to leave Brexit. It was like, what are you guys doing? And it was so impossible to use.
And anybody else, and we've seen this in a bunch of different scenarios, anybody else would have had like a cutoff where it's like, okay, if you're not shipping more than $100,000 worth of merchandise a year, this does not apply to you.
Right.
Was there a cutoff? No cutoff. If you send 50 cents worth of product to the UK, you owe them a VAT on that. Well, listen, again, that's when people like you and me say, screw it. I ain't doing this. It isn't worth it. It isn't worth the amount of time. I put way too much time into that. Time I'm never going to get back. We're done here. You at some point you got to decide when you're beating your head against the wall.
And it's one of those things. Brad and I grew up in a world where free trade and open market was the watchword, and everybody was trying to establish trade deals, and everybody was trying to lower trade barriers. And we're now entering a world, especially as Western democracies have their populations decline, where tariffs are, once they get instituted, they don't go away. I'm just telling you from history, it's really hard to get rid of tariffs. Once a government gets used to the tax base that is tariffs. So this UK tariff system is not going away. America's tariff systems, unfortunately, are not going to go away anytime soon. Governments just get addicted to that influx of cash because it doesn't feel like a direct tax, even though it's a direct tax on their voters. And so, anyway, I'm very sad about it. I'm not my international shipping is going to be limited to my Kickstarter campaigns, and I'm going to try to communicate that to my international readers. But it is what it is, Brad. I just can't operate. I'm not big enough to operate in a world where I have to fill out all these different forms for all these different countries and remit the tax that they are rightfully owed. I'm not saying that they're not owed it. They are owed it. I'm happy to pay it if it was easy. Fair. If I could do it in an easy way, boy, bada bing, bada boom. But God bless them, especially the UK, they make it impossible to try to be honorable and a good foreign friend who wants to pay them their remit. I don't know.
Yeah. I literally got into a situation navigating the UK's VAT system where it's like you had two choices, A or B. If you're such and so, you've got to choose A. You've absolutely got to choose A. And so I chose A, and then they said, and I'm going to make this up, but you'll see where I'm going. I chose A. They said, "Are you a cartoonist?" I said, "Yes." "You can't choose A." "Okay, no problem."
I'll choose B.
"No problem. I'll choose B." "I'm choosing B." "Click, there's B." "Fantastic. Welcome to B. Wonderful. We're happy to have you here." "Are you a cartoonist?" I said, "Yeah, you can't choose B." And that was the only two choices.
Oh my God.
It was the only two choices. And when I got to that level of inanity, I was like, well, that's it. You're done.
Yeah.
Via con Dios to my British readers. I love you very much. Join me on Patreon. And by the way, this is where we're going to see digital goods become more and more popular and more important. And that means they're going to find a way to tax that too. Already have.
Yeah, they are.
But digital goods are going to become more prominent because people like you and me are just saying, nah, we're not going to do that. We're not touching that anymore. And man, oh man, Amazon, who clearly has the resources to be amazing on the back end. It's kind of like the pyramids, right? The Great Pyramids. You look at those Great Pyramids and you're like, oh my God, how are those pyramids built? Such an amazing structure.
Look what humans are capable of, Brad, right? Look what they're capable of.
Yeah, and then you go around behind the pyramids, you're looking at the front of the pyramids. Oh, that's such engineering. You go around behind and you see about 100,000 people being whipped.
Yeah.
Tell them, work harder, you people. We got these pyramids to build. It's misery for thousands and tens of thousands of people behind those pyramids, but in front, what a work of engineering.
Brad,
look at these. It's one of the eighth wonders of the world, these pyramids. I wonder how it got there.
Yeah.
I tell you how it got there.
Slavery. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, look what humans are capable of. Oh, they're capable of mass slavery. Yeah, that's what they're
capable of absolute misery.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, look, listen, guys, we'd love to pay you, but that gold cap for this pyramid is not going to pay for itself. So,
my God, we'd love to give you some wages, but after all, there's a pyramid to build.
So anyway,
so I can understand why you're getting the hell out of Amazon Advantage.
And because I had advocated for it previously on the show, I wanted to course correct that publicly and say that for me, at least, for my needs, and for what I imagine is going to be a lot of people's needs, Amazon Advantage just didn't work. And I'm sort of fascinated that it's still working for Brad. And I'm curious to see what
I don't know that it is. Well, here's the deal. This is a good time to talk about this because you're probably going to be getting your 1099 from Amazon pretty soon, right? Mm-hmm. So you can see how much money you made over the past year. And with your shipping software, it should be easy for you to see how much you paid in postage.
I can isolate out Amazon. Yeah, just search for the word Amazon and yep.
Not for nothing. You do that. You do one quick math project and you find out whether it's worth your time to be there or not.
I tell you what, Brad, you know how I recently said that I started to do was finishing up my 2025 books and I was kind of frustrated and sad by how the year was just so-so. If you want to tip Dave Kellett so that's kind of a so-so blase mood into just a pissing mad mood, have me run that exercise that Brad just suggested where I contrast my 1099 from Amazon with the shipping costs that I spent. And then you'll suddenly see me throwing a chair through a window.
Yeah,
anyway,
wait till you end up with negative numbers on that one. Then you'll be taking that scarf and pulling a little bit tighter.
So, Brad, I've got another question for you, and this one might be a quick one, but I'm gonna read it to you coming in from patreon.com/comiclab, and it's about an imposter syndrome, Brad. Mm-hmm. And the listener writes in, Brad and Dave, what do you do when every time you sit down to create, you become overwhelmed and end up creating nothing? I feel like every piece I try and make has to be something worth sharing. Even simple sketches on the back of an envelope. There's this constant nagging to create content so you can maintain or build up your audience. Brad, how do you overcome this? How do you defeat this self-doubt, Brad?
All right. I've been thinking about this a long time, ever since this question came in. And after yelling and screaming, I've got to take a second and
lower your blood pressure.
Yeah. I've got to change gears here because here's the deal. Very often I like to do something on this show, which is kind of like either the Hollywood Squares answer, right? Where, your center square with Paul Lynde and they say something and he says something. Well, that's because, of this and that. And there's a big laugh and then he gives the real answer. Or I'll just say something very bombastic to get your attention. And then we'll unpack the topic and go into nuance and stuff like that. And I don't want to do, I want to be really clear that I'm not doing any of that.
Wait,
I'm
so
gonna be
was I being Paul Lind earlier when I said that both Brad's package and Brad's package got rejected?
Yes, that was a very Paul Lind answer.
I should throw a confetti in the air like Rip Torn, like whoa.
Yeah, I was going to say we're confusing three gay icons now. We've got Charles Nelson Riley, Paul Lind, and Rip Torn.
Oh, wait a minute. Charles, which one was the circle meets the square that did the was that?
Charles Nelson Riley was upper right on the match game, and he's Paul Lind was, that's my wife you're talking about.
He was the one that talked like this. He had a great sort of...
Rip Torn was the guy that threw confetti. So
right.
We've got a whole bunch of people we're conflating here. Okay, now I got to become serious, Brad, again. Here's the deal. When we're talking about this imposter syndrome, and I'm being really genuine and honest here.
Okay.
I think you need to talk to a professional. When I read what I read in this question, I think it's time for you to talk to a mental health professional who is licensed and trained to help you with this thing that you're dealing with. I don't think this is something that a podcaster or a cartoonist can possibly help with. What I'm seeing is this person can't even create because do a sketch. He says, I can't do a sketch because I feel like I've got to put it on social media. And that goes beyond the kind of imposter syndrome things that we talk about here on the show. Like what are we going to tell this guy? Well, listen, just buck up. I just got done telling a guy that was going through heartbreak that he just needs to go out and say table for one and everything will be okay. I can't even do that with this question. I want to encourage you to go and talk to a therapist, a mental health therapist. We've had people on the show very often, right, who talk about how their lives were changed by taking their mental health seriously, and the importance of that. And Dave and I are both. You won't find two people who believe in that and encourage it more strongly.
Mm-hmm, yep.
I want you to go see a therapist. What you're talking about here goes beyond imposter syndrome in my mind.
What's so funny about this is that I had an answer all queued up, and now I'm like, well, never mind. Because how can I answer it now? I can't be like, well,
I'm giving you no place to go. and I really do apologize
this is me
for that. I should have let you go
box
first.
back on the shelf, like closing it up, like, I agree with Brad. Go chat with a therapist about that.
I mean, honestly, what can you tell somebody when he says, I can't even do a sketch because I'm scared of what it's going to look like on social media? That's somebody that I think should probably talk to somebody.
What I just to give you a hint of what I was going to say is that because
taking that box off the shelf.
Yeah, gently opening the box again. No, what it was, and it's still a version of what Brad was going to say is somehow, some way, the weight of wanting to be a cartoonist so badly has become crushing to you that even back of napkin sketches now are overwhelming, and that's hard. That's a hard road to walk in that moment. And so I agree with Brad that this is probably a moment where scheduling time with a therapist who can give you insight into what's causing this, how you can deal with this, approaches to dealing with this are much better and more appropriate than what Brad and I and what our advice would have been. So yeah, I think that's probably the healthiest way to answer this for all three of us involved is that, and for anybody listening, frankly, is that, boy, is that a valid option. And boy, is that something that, because for a lot of cultures, for a lot of families, for a lot of, depending on your upbringing, it can be seen as this huge negative when it's not at all. It can be, it can be amazing. And in some cases, life-saving. Both Brad and I would endorse it strongly and wholeheartedly. And so, yeah, I quietly put my box back up on the shelf and say I agree with Brad. No, it's not jokingly because you boxed me in on that, but I think because as I think about this out loud, Brad's right. This is a very heavy weight that's being put on your heart. And this is something that you need to talk through with a licensed therapist at length about. This is not something that can be solved by Brad and I giving you 5 minutes of advice and sending you on your way, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not going to have the 3 C's on this. We're not going to have swig. There's no magic words that we're going to give you. There's no, because literally we're talking about a post on social media that's going to disappear in a number of seconds, depending on which platform.
Right.
What I'm reading here is a creator who has a great deal of value to add to the world, who can't because they're being overwhelmed by social media. And at that point, I think it's time to go see somebody who can give you smarter advice than either one of us can.
And I don't even know, to be clear, based on the way this question was worded, I don't even know if it's social media doing it so much as the physical act of creating, and that everything created has to be worthwhile. Like,
has to be this thing.
Like, you can't be waiting you can't be waiting on the phone for your doctor's office in the phone line waiting room and sketching on an envelope without that meaning something, like that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, anyway, long story short, I agree with Brad's advice. I think Brad hit the nail on the head there.
Well, listen, we've done heartbreak. We've done Great Britain's VAT tax. We've done Amazon and the horrible experience on the back end. And we've done mental health. I think we better wrap this show up before you and I both start breaking into tears.
Yeah.
This has been a very, but actually, no, I don't want to say it's a down episode of Comic Lab, because going to see taking care of your mental health is actually a very good thing. There's nothing that's bad about that at all. Right. Amazon, on the other hand, is
Amazon
can
go to hell.
So I'll just say that you've been listening to Comic Lab, the show about making comics and making a living from comics.
Your hosts have been my friend Brad Geiger, the editor of webcomics.com and the creator of Evil Inc. at evilcomic.com, and the co-host of the fantastic new drawing show over at wrongwayshow.com.
And my good friend Dave Kellett, who is currently doing an amazing Kickstarter over at doubledogbook.com. You are going to love it. I love it. Everybody I've talked to about this book is over the moon.
Everybody at your table for one, Brad? Okay. Oh, the lie is coming clear, Brad. The lie is coming clear.
And the co-director of the comics documentary Stripped. He's the cartoonist of Sheldon at sheldoncomics.com and Drive at drivecomic.com. And another handsome co-host, along with our good friend Kevin McShane, of the drawing show wrongwayshow.com.
And the Comic Lab theme song is used with permission from Andy Creighton over at theworldrecord.net. And this episode was edited by the ever wonderful, ever whimsical Matt Woodard of Woodsong Productions over at www.woodsong.media.
If you love Comic Lab, you can rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts, and you may hear your review featured on a future episode like this one. Dave, this one came in from our friend Mike, who's a Comic Lab backer. Mike says, I'm reaching out because I was a subscriber to your Comic Lab podcast. You once answered a question of mine about working with artists as a writer who does not draw. At that time, I was struggling to keep artists on board my projects. Contractors were often unreliable. I was stuck in the, how do I pay the least amount in exchange for the most value mindset? And I lost a significant amount of money paying for pages that never led to completed projects. You not only answered my question superbly, but even made it a topic on the show, offering concrete advice on how to properly incentivize artists long-term and bring them into the creative process as true collaborators. I wanted to let you know that I followed your advice very closely, and it has worked out extremely well. I now have a talented and reliable team of artists, and we are actively bringing our first comic series to life. Just as an aside, Dave, I got a copy of this comic. In fact, I'm going to forward it to you because it's all about pets and stuff. You're going to love it. Really, really charming, wonderful stuff.
Great.
He just ends up by saying, I genuinely appreciate the impact your guidance has been on my work.
Mike, thank you so much for that feedback, and thank you so much for the kind words. I remember that question, and I remember that answer in terms of we were talking about having to value the artist that you work with and having to value the process and all that sort of stuff. And so I'm so glad that was taken to heart and that it worked out. That's the best kind of feedback Brad and I can get for this podcast, is that it had a positive impact on somebody's path. And so thank you, Mike, for that. I really appreciate that.
And don't forget to give us a 5-star review on Spotify, where we are burning up the podcast chart.
And Comic Lab is made possible by your support at patreon.com/Comic Lab. So we'll go ahead and say that twice. Patreon.com/everybody's rejecting Brad's package.
You're so proud of yourself for that joke.
Listen, only once every quarter do I land one really good joke, and I feel like that was my one.
And a joke about a package. That was like right next door to a dirty joke, Dave.
Right,
you got to realize that.
In the Dave Khaled world, I walked right up to the edge, Brad. Right up to the edge.
Yes. You must. How did it feel?
The level of blushing on this end of the microphone, Brad, was unheard of. Just unheard of levels of blood rushing to my cheeks.
It could only be a few more short steps until you tell us until you. I
saw where you were going and you tripped over it. Oh, Brad, there once was a man from Nantucket and you tripped over it.
Can we be that far from you telling us a limerick about a man from Nantucket? Was the line? Oh man, Now you see why I can never do stand-up comedy. I would do that, and I would just fall into a puddle in front of the microphone.
Now you see, everyone, why Brad's package is being rejected.
You can't keep saying the same joke.
Yes, I can. If I land it, I get to keep using it. That's what a runner is, Brad. That's what a runner is.